LGBTQ activists held dance party protest outside Ivanka Trump's D.C. home. Hundreds of LGBTQ protesters invaded Ivanka Trump's upmarket neighborhood in Washington, D.C., for the queer dance party for climate justice, much to the fury of other residents. A storm of dancing people marched with signs, speakers, and festive clothing while chanting obscenities directed towards the first daughter's father to protest his administration's rollback on Obama's climate change policies. On Saturday night, the rowdy crowd disrupted the usually exclusive area as they flocked to Ivanka's $5.5 million home, as one of her neighbors became so infuriated by the noisy event that he was filmed threatening to punch a demonstrator. The 82-year-old enraged resident of the expensive Colorama community yelled to protesters, "Get out of here. I live here. Do you want to get your F-King face hit?" The protest may have fallen on deaf ears, as Ivanka and family didn't seem to be home to witness the event. She was last spotted in New York City on Friday as she was in town with her 3 children to celebrate her youngest child's birthday with her in-laws. The presidential family might have some explaining to do to the neighborhood association, as residents complained earlier in March that their lack of community etiquette was ruining the suburb. The participants held signs that told Ivanka to get natural and criticized the businesswoman for not walking her children in nature. Police cars lined the streets of where the mother of 3 resides when in the nation's capital, while barricades and yellow tape were placed to guard anyone from actually stepping onto the property. However, this didn't deter the protesters from blasting music from speakers, singing along to Queen's rock anthem "We Will Rock You" and dancing on the roofs of cars. The commotion was the boiling point for one man who was filmed by Ashley Ray Goldenberg at MRC TV, screaming at a man and woman for seemingly being involved with the perceived disruption. The man tells the women to leave, and when a friend defended her and said to the elderly man as he walked away, "No need to be rude like that," the man turned on his heels and yelled, "Rude. Don't give me that. Do you want to get your F-King face hit? Get out of here. Do you want to fight with an 82-year-old? Get the FK out of here." Washington, D.C. police said they didn't have information yet on how many people were arrested or if there had been any arrests at all. An official said those details wouldn't be known until Sunday. This isn't the first time Ivanka has annoyed her upscale neighbors with her presence. The residents of the exclusive suburb have expressed their fury earlier in March over the presidential family's lack of community etiquette that is ruining the area. Residents have complained their new neighbors have been hogging parking on an already crowded street and leaving trash bags rotting on the curb. A big part of the complaint, a huge security presence, with even a trip to the playground requiring 3 vans. They have groused that sidewalks have been closed, public parking overrun, and that the family and their staff can't even be bothered to learn the trash pickup schedule outside their home. "It has been a 3-ring circus from the day that they've moved in," said Marietta Robinson, who lives across the street, speaking with the Associated Press. "They've completely ruined the neighborhood." The night was organized by Work for Peace, a queer activist collective, along with 350 D.C. Queer Resistance and the Trans Women of Color Collective. Carla Aronson, a co-organizer, told the Huffington Post why the groups band together against Ivanka, who recently was given an office in the White House for her new unpaid role. Aronson said, "We can't let Ivanka trick our communities into supporting and legitimizing her. We will show up to her home because the bad decisions of the Trump administration hit us in our daily lives, in our homes, and the nature we surround ourselves with." The activist claims that Ivanka has been green and pink washing our climate and queer family, and added, "If Ivanka Trump isn't gaslighting us, then she should come into the streets and work it." Not all of the residents were upset by the commotion. Neighbor Diane Bruce lives across the street from Ivanka Trump and also lives in London. She smiled as she watched the activity unfold from her front steps with a glass of wine in hand. The event was launched at 6 p.m. in DuPont Circle, according to the event's Facebook page. The details of the night read, "The entire Trump administration has shown a blatant disregard for our planet and its inhabitants, like paving the way for the Dakota Access Pipeline displacing the Standing Rock Sioux tribe. The reality is that the people most affected by the administration's bad climate decisions are our most vulnerable friends, our poor, working class, Native, trans and POC siblings. We must put our bodies on the line for our Earth and for all who depend on its resources. Also, in case you hadn't heard, Trump revoked protections for LGBTQ government employees and removed LGBTQ questions from the census. All the more reason to turn out and show that you count. This weekend will likely mark the end of Ivanka's self-imposed unemployment, with the former executive vice president of the Trump Organization and head of her eponymous fashion brand set to start in her new White House position next week. That controversial appointment was made a little over 2 months after Ivanka stepped down from her other 2 positions to avoid any possible conflicts or ethics violations once her father took office. In her new role, she will not be paid a salary in order to avoid any possible ethics complaints given her status as a federal employee, who cannot be appointed to their posts by family members. That move is one Trump administration successfully used to secure her husband Jared Kushner's staff position back in January. Kushner and the rest of the Trump administration are now dealing with building backlash from both sides of the aisle after the announcement of Ivanka's post earlier this week. On top of that, the couple was revealed to be benefiting from a $740 million business empire and sprawling real estate portfolio while they serve in White House jobs, according to financial filings revealed on Friday. The revelations about the president's son-in-law and daughter were part of a massive White House release of financial disclosure forms for more than 100 of its top administration officials. Kushner, who serves as Trump's senior advisor, detailed in his filings that he and Ivanka collected about $195 million in income last year. The New York Times reports they are still the beneficiaries of a combined $740 million fortune.